So we have a customer that wants a triple grafted tree. Pineapple Pleasure, Bailey's Marvel, and Sweet Tart. So I'm going to start with a Pineapple Pleasure tree, so check one off the list, and then add Sweet Tart and Bailey's Marvel. Now I've gotten 2 scions of Bailey's Marvel, varied sizes, but I've started preparing those over a week ago, so you can tell it both have active buds there at the tips. And then I just got 3 of the Sweet Tart, and actually the active bud is right here on this one. Sometimes that happens with certain varieties, that they actually will prefer a place that's not at the terminal ring. Anyway, I have my choice of the diameters and such for the tree, and this particular tree I chose because it has 3 main branches here. So this one is the smallest branch, and so I will leave this Pineapple Pleasure, because grafting these onto these other branches will pretty much slow those down, so I think it'll all even out. And I think because of the growth habit, one thing I want to mention to you, when with certain varieties like Sweet Tart, once you wrap this up in certain lights, it will look black. And you might think that the graft is dead. You got to keep it on there anyway, because you don't want to make the mistake of taking off a successful graft. So anyway, this one, there's a couple that seem like they're too thick, one of the Sweet Tarts and one of the Bailey's Marvel. I'd rather not work with those right now. So I will use this Bailey's Marvel, but it doesn't need to be this long. And I think I'll use this Sweet Tart. So the first thing we need to do is wrap the scions with buddy tape. Somebody report us to the SPCA or something. Okay, so I actually got one more than I need. But we want to wrap this up. They wanted to be inside, really, they did. I guess I would use a little bit more. And then this one, has this bud here, so I want to make sure that gets wrapped very nicely. I'll start a little bit on this side and wrap it around. That's covered up, no stretch marks or anything. We have to let it out. I think they have to wear out sometime. So that is just a very long scion, so I'll just trim both of these. That one should be about, you can always make them shorter. Can't really make them longer though. Okay, so those look like they're more usable size. Get my handy dandy tool out. Now this darker one is Sweet Tart. And I guess I'll start with that. I want, on this particular plant, in case one of the grafts fails, like for instance a hurricane comes through and blows it off of the tree, we want to have space lower down to retry, to regraft the variety. And so I will put it right up here into this wood, and then if it, for some reason it fails, we still have this part to graft into. this nice flat straight cut here. I'm not panting, it's the dog. Okay, looks like a little bit at the end. Almost there. Just this. When you even off a side, make sure you don't leave a bump in the middle of the scion. That's a common mistake. Okay, so right here is our intended target. I'll start a little bit above where I need to in case I start too narrow. Okay, that looks like it'll be good. Okay, so it's not, yeah, it is pretty good. Now make sure there's no light coming through. Needs maybe a little bit of trim up here so that it rests a little better under the, into the slot. Okay, it looks like it'll fold together very nicely. And might as well take this leaf off up here because it will rub the buddy tape too much. So there we go. Back over to our buddy tape department. Make sure everything's lined up. And away we go. Okay. And then an elastic. Whoops. Darn. Often happens. No big deal. Just start over again. I think that we are at the end there. So we will tie this one off. Okay. Wave our magic wand and see how that one does. Taking out these little branches, there's 3 branches coming out of the same point here, and the little ones are not big enough to graft onto right now. So we'll take them out. It's good to have all the focus going to the graft. And so that's what I'm doing now. Take out those. And then we'll find a place for this Bailey's marble graft. And I think that this area is going to be a good one. It looks like it's about the same diameter as the scion, this part of this branch. So I'll put it in somewhere here. There's no meaningful curve to this branch, so I don't have that to consider. I'll just start with making the cut here. This does have a little bit of a curve to this scion, so I think I'll probably put that right here, and that will help a little bit to draw the nutrients there to this scion. 'Cause, 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 'cause So this is going to be the flat side. This other side doesn't matter as much because that's the flap side. The flat side and the flap side. Okay, so just have to make room for the end of the scion. So take that leaf, and I guess this one too. And so that's how it will rest. I could put it up a little bit further. It's about the same. So we'll start here. What the heck? You don't want to go more than halfway into the receiving branch. That looks like it's going to be about right. That's the flat side. And check and see if this union is good. Yeah, I don't know if you see there's a little daylight going through there, which is the same problem as we had last time. So we just take a little bit of this off right here, and it should rest in there a lot easier. It's the right size cut, but we want to make sure that the union is good. Now let's try and check that out again. And that with the elastic will be real fine. And actually, there's a little bit of a bump here, so I'll make this a little specialty trim. Because it would be nice if the first time through these took. Okay, put this right back in. Snug it down, and put our buddy tape first. Okay, this time using a little bit looser or not as strong elastic, I should say, but we'll just, this is better for younger wood, but you can adapt all these different elastics to different situations. Basically whatever works is just fine. One time when I was out of grafting supplies and desperate to graft, I actually used curling ribbon. I don't recommend it. It's a pain to work with, but it worked. Okay, so I think that's going to do it. You can bend the host plant twig down a little bit for better contact, but you have to be really careful because it's easy to break the limb because it already has a part of it missing, or the shoot. So anyway, the last thing I'm going to do with this particular plant is trim. These leaves here are important to keeping the juices coming up to the graft. These are not as important, and there's more for the wind to blow around, and that causes stress on this particular union here that we want to form. So I'm going to just cut this back all the way to this little cluster of leaves. And then on the other side, we want this pineapple pleasure to form branches 12 to 14 inches away from where it's coming out of the main part of the tree. So I'm going to cut slightly below this cluster of leaves because there's all those buds in that one area, and I would rather have the branches come out a little bit staggered. So I'm just going to cut below, which is about a 1/4 inch above that leaf on the bottom. And so while this is making, these branches are trying to make unions with the graft wood, this can make new branches, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful tree in, how long will it take? A couple months? We'll see.